Hey, welcome to Theology Thursday. My name is Pastor Ben. I'm the pastor of First Baptist Jackson in Jackson, Alabama. And today I want to talk to you about the theology of Mayberry, Andy Griffith, Aunt B, and all the rest. Let me get at that in just a moment. Before I do, let me ask you a question. Any of you think that the devil is at work? I mean, can we all agree, if you're a Christian watching this, can you just agree, there's something going on here? The devil is at work. And any Christian, I think, worth his salt will be able to recognize the spirit of Antichrist is having a field day in the hearts of our nation and maybe around the world. What we see happening and unfolding before us, primetime TV anchors, all the things that are going on, so much around us of this is anger and strife and vengeance and theft and death and murders and brutalities. This is madness. And I believe that it is a little preview of a society that has severed its ties from God. And I think we've been at this for quite a while in our culture. You know what I mean? That's cutting your tie, like cutting your roots. It's sort of like decorative flowers, You cut a decorative flower away from its roots and it looks good for a little while. But as time goes on, it begins to wilt, fade, and die. And I'm afraid as a culture, a society, we've been cutting our roots from a divine lawgiver, God. And we've lost our way towards righteousness. And what's happening in our society, I think, is we are wilting. And in the absence of a holy standard, anarchy ensues. In an absence of a holy lawgiver, an accountability and a conscience that is common to all, might makes right. The only thing you can do, the only way you can get what you want is not by appealing to people like Sheriff Taylor, who would talk criminals out of their criminality, who would talk thieves out of thievery, right? Who would appeal to people on the basis of a shared set of values. He never wore a gun, did he? He just could talk them down. Why? Because they had a common set of shared values in this Mayberry world. They could reason with each other about what was right and wrong because they all had a shared set of values of what was right and what was wrong. But a culture that's lost its standard, you see, the only thing that can happen is you have the only people who get what they want, the only rule is power. Whoever has the most power and strength of arms gets their way. It reminds me of what you see in the book of Judges. In the nation of Israel, the common line through the book of Judges is everybody's doing what is right in their own eyes because they've lost their way. They've lost their North Star, their shared set of common conscience that was tied to the divine lawgiver. And I think in our own world, we're seeing at play, our culture, societies, little pockets, little political groups that are forming around, they've got there's no shared internal conscience that we can all appeal to sort of govern our behaviors, our actions, our demands, and so forth. It's basically, you either give me what I want or else. It's a strange time that we live in when, you see evidence of this when you've got leaders saying, we got to bring in more police, we got to up our police force, we got to bring in the National Guard. There's even a rumor about, activating some sort of military option, the Insurrection Act, against our own citizens. Why do we have to do that? Because might makes right. The only thing you can do when people are turning violent to achieve their own political gains or political ends is bring a bigger gun to the gunfight. And I'm afraid as a culture we're moving in that direction. It's a dangerous time indeed. What are we going to do if that's even a remotely right assessment of what we're living through right now? What do we do as the church? I want to call you, if you're a Christian, I want to call you to the most radical kind of Christian living you've ever lived today. I want to call you to live the life of Christ. I want to call you to live out his redemption, his grace, his forgiveness, his love. I want to call you to be generous, to be kind, to tell the truth. I want to call the church to holiness, to live a life that is obviously guided and directed by the divine lawgiver, and to love him with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. We need to pursue a better society. We need to fight for that. Brother and sister, our war is not against flesh and blood, bone, and skin. Our fight is against the unseen powers and principalities that are driving the sin and corruption in the world. We need to take the gospel boldly and courageously into our culture, into our world. And we need to live this gospel boldly and courageously in a world that perhaps needs to see it now more than ever before. Onward, Christian soldiers, marching us to war with the cross of Jesus going on before. An emblem of love, an emblem of sacrifice, an emblem of grace, hope for a broken world, hope for a systems and world and political powers that perhaps are unjust. Where do we find the hope? On beams of wood, on Golgotha, where sinners can come to find healing, and where cultures can go to find hope. That there was someone who died for us to change us from within and to bring us back to a right relationship, to lead a holy life in relationship with a holy God. We're studying this in our church. We're trying to be people who lead with love, who love our neighbors, and who lead lives in accordance with the divine lawgiver. We're meeting now back in our church sanctuary and invite you to come. You can be a part of things in our church service. I invite you to the 11 a.m. service. We've still got room in that service. We're practicing social distancing, but we've got room in that 11 a.m. We'd love for you to come and you be part of our service. We're going to meet, keep socially distant, and hear the words sing and be safe and do all the necessary things. And we're going to head out and be with each other virtually during the week and those kinds of things. We'd love for you to be involved. We'd love for you to come hear about the hope of the gospel, how it can change your life and how it changes the world around us. God bless you. Thanks for watching.